I dropped the mic. Oh my goodness, what a weird thing that was doing. We won't even talk about it. We're just going to get on with it. I'm going to give people a minute to find the stream. I don't know how any of this stuff works. The mic probably isn't working, but is the sound okay? Can you hear me? So thanks for being here, Mom and Bex. Are you able to hear me? I have a new mic, new lights, new cell phone contraption because laptop is done, but they haven't gotten around to shipping it yet. So, hey, Annie Ruler, I sound good? The gods are with us. Okay. How are you guys? I can't believe it's been 3 days. I mean, I was on Shan's live for a minute last night, so I got a little bit of a fix, but not enough. I miss you guys so much. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coming on with all these freaking contraptions. And I don't even know like what you can see in the screen. That's what I hate about the cell phone, is it really lies to you. It tells you stuff is in the screen that's not in the screen. So can you see the thumbs up? Please hit that thumbs up. Not touching anything except the thumbs up. I know it's dangerous to mess with anything, right? Don't fix what's not broken. I got to listen to myself. Okay. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of conversation. Hey, Mark and Susan, thanks so much for being here. It's all for the sake of education, hoping to learn and grow and be a better person, really, in the end. All my videos have been made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. So I just want to check in with you guys first, because it's been 3 whole days, and it's been a long time since I've gone that long without at least dropping a short video. I almost dropped a couple of like community posts over the weekend. Maybe I dropped one, I don't even remember. But there's been a lot going on. So you guys, dare I start a whole new case? It's an old case. It's a really old case. I've mentioned it a few times. And probably many of you are aware of the live shooter that happened at a Walmart in Ohio last night. I think 4 people were wounded, and then the shooter, I believe, died of a self-inflicted gunshot. This Walmart where this happened, you may remember 9 years ago, getting close to 9.5 years ago, there was a fatal shooting with a non-live shooter, John Crawford III. Have you heard that name, you guys? Let's see. Sunshine. Hello, hello. And thank you guys so much for being here. It's going to be hard to see. I cleaned my glasses, and look at this. I brought one of these little things right over to the spot so I can clean them some more, because I really do love to see your comments, which is the only reason I didn't turn the camera sideways, because it is kind of nicer to have it sideways, except for then the chat disappears like as quickly as it goes up. So I'm trying not to touch anything. I'm trying just to talk and pray. Pray with me, you guys. So as you guys know, I'm in the process of training to become a yoga instructor, and it's a transformation. It really is. I have been a little resistant to it. It's quite a process, and I haven't spoken about it a lot with you guys because I just, don't really know where to start. But I feel like I'm getting my rhythm with it, so I'll probably start speaking about it more. And it's just a lovely thing. It's a great way to be learning more about my own yoga practice, and then translating that for other people's yoga practice, and then again back into my own. So I'm not setting out with the goal of becoming a yoga instructor right now. I'm setting out with the goal of just peace, baby. justice, right? And yoga is really all about peace and justice, in my opinion, in my experience. So prepare yourselves. Yes, I will still be talking about my jewelry endlessly, still be talking about the home decor endlessly, I'm sure. And, you know, my fashion statements. Good thing I'm not into makeup and hair, right? I mean, seriously, I'd be like a freaking Barbie doll up here. And this isn't Hollywood. This has nothing to do with looks. This has everything to do with what's meaningful and creating meaning. And, you know, I started my channel, what, a year and 2 months ago, to put some of my thoughts and opinions out into the ether about the Kiely Rodni case. There were certain things that I felt like people were missing, and I felt like I could hopefully shine some light and share some of what I've learned in my lifetime. And it seemed to go well. My channel took off big time, like hit the ground running. And it's since like slowed down to a screeching halt and even, you know, dropped back a little bit, which is completely fine. I love having a small channel. I just love having a channel. And honestly, it would probably be a little too much pressure for me. And then I don't know. I still haven't made a dime on it. Hopefully I'll be getting monetized, but you know, they just keep changing the goalposts. So anyway, all that crap is neither here nor there. The shooting that happened at the Walmart in Ohio was the same Walmart where John Crawford III, a black man, was shot by the police when he was carrying a toy gun. This was August 5th of 20, let's see, I wrote it down, 2014. Good thing, because I was like having a brain fart there. August 5th, 2014, John Crawford III. So 9 years ago. There's so much to cover with that case, but you know, this was prior to the George Floyd situation. The shooter last night at the exact same Walmart was a white guy. And again, I believe that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot, which is what it's said on the news this morning. And he shot 4 people. So a lot of the storyline isn't known, but it's Beaver Creek, Ohio. It's a very homogenized community. And John Crawford III was carrying a toy gun that he was wanting to purchase for his kid at Walmart. And a overzealous white guy called 911 and straight up lied to them and said that this guy was like, you know, pointing a real gun at people. And then the police got there, they said, drop the gun. And I think they shot him within like a 15th of a second. I mean, it's all on videotape surveillance. I think he was in the cat food aisle, and it's chilling. I mean, you can look this stuff up. You can see for yourself. I'll put some links in the description. John Crawford III's father is John Crawford Jr. And he's not a lawyer, but he's like a probation officer or something like that. He works in the legal field, and he's very well educated and very much of a gentleman, really good at composure and keeping his cool. And I doubt that he has stopped trying to seek justice. I doubt it. It's possible. I'll have to revisit the case, but I've actually had contact with him more than once too. He's quite a lovely man. One of the things I want to say, there's a lot to cover, but one of the things that I really want to say, because it ties in with one of our current cases, not to be too spread out all over the map with Kiely Rodni, with Idaho4, with Maui, but John Crawford was at that Walmart with his girlfriend, and her name was Tasha Thomas. Tasha Thomas was interrogated by the detectives and accused of lying, and 4 months later she died in a fiery car crash going over 100 miles an hour in an area where it's like a residential area, and there's roundabouts, and people that know that area well say that you really couldn't go more than 35 miles an hour if you tried. But it was a single car accident, single motor vehicle accident. It was New Year's Day, and I just spent like 20 minutes trying to look it up because I was like, was it like 3 in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon? At this point, I believe it could have been scrubbed from the internet, because initially when it happened on January 1st, 2015, the news tried to make it sound like it was 3 in the morning-ish, and it was her and her friend. And I can't remember which one of them was driving, if it was her driving or if it was him driving. I want to say it was her car and she was driving. But anyway, they both died. And it was astounding a couple days later when it was revealed that it wasn't 3 in the morning, because, you know, you think, yeah, there's a lot of terrible car accidents that happen because of people partying on New Year's Eve. So this was New Year's Day. This was 3:30-ish in the afternoon. And I looked everywhere just now trying to find the time of day, because I like to be more specific. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't even find that it was night or day. But I know for sure that it happened at around ballpark 3 in the afternoon, January 1st. And that the news tried to portray it like it was 3 in the morning when it first happened. And then it became obvious that that was misinformation. So you have misinformation, you have disinformation. I actually think it might have been disinformation, but either way, the reason that I'm bringing her up is because she had been basically becoming a social activist over this situation with her boyfriend. She was with him at Walmart buying cat food. He was trying to buy cat food. He was on the phone, I think, with his mom or something, trying to figure out what kind of cat food to buy. And he was carrying this gun that he wanted to purchase for his little guy. I think he had a kid that was maybe like 4 or 5. Anyway, John Crawford III. A lot of people get confused and they think he's John Crawford Jr. And no, John Crawford Jr. is still living, and that's his father. And he might live in Kentucky, but he travels to Ohio a lot to try to get justice for his kid. And he's, like I said, quite well spoken. So you guys are probably having light bulbs turn on that the car accident is very reminiscent of the single car crash that John Pelletier's executive assistant was in 2 months after he started working for the Maui PD. And I didn't look up her name just now to write it down. But that woman that was the police chief's executive assistant passed away in a fiery single motor vehicle accident at 4:30 in the morning in a parking lot. And I think the reports say she was going over 100 miles an hour in a parking lot. And the story is that somebody stole something out of her car and she jumped in it and chased them down and hit a tree or a pole, and the car exploded and she died. So that was 2 months after he was, 2.5 months after he was installed as the police chief in Maui. And people in the department were dropping like flies. She had worked for that department, I think, for about 30 years. And she was Native. Pelletier was the first non-Native police chief they ever had. And he was from Vegas. We all remember this. He had been the police captain in charge of the largest mass casualty open shooter, live shooter event in history. That was John Pelletier, who was then hired by Maui PD, even though he was up against people who had a lot of experience with that department and were Native. And those people mostly resigned or retired, right? Hey, squirrels, how are you? So yeah, this is just horrifying. So I'm bringing up the John Crawford III case because of the live shooter event that happened in Ohio at Walmart last night. So as soon as I heard about it and all I heard was Walmart in Ohio, I was like, this can't be Beaver Creek. This cannot be the same Walmart. There's a lot of Walmarts in that area. It was the exact same Walmart, you guys. I mean, you could do a Google search and see how many Walmarts are in like a 50-mile radius. It's a lot. So, how many Walmarts are in the state of Ohio? I'm gonna guess a few hundred. I don't know. Google knows. I'll ask them later. Anyway, it was at the exact same Walmart. And another reason this seems pertinent to me, timing wise, is because at the end of last week, Derek Chauvin, who we all remember was the police officer who was convicted for murdering George Floyd, his appeal was denied at the end of last week. So for this white guy to walk into the same Walmart where John Crawford was shot and killed, a young black man shot and killed by white police officers who didn't assess the situation. Had they assessed the situation, they would have seen that he was on the telephone trying to figure out what kind of cat food to buy and carrying a gun that he intended to purchase out that store that he was in. But when they said whatever it was that they said, I think it was drop the weapon or hands up or whatever, they shot him in a millisecond, you guys. It's all over the internet. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more coverage. But at this point in time, it's over 9 years old. And at the time, there was like Tamir Rice, who was also in Ohio. There was, the kid with the Skittles in Florida that Zimmerman shot. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. The kid that was just walking through a neighborhood with his hood up. I think Tamir Rice was the 12-year-old that was in a park in Cleveland that was shot by the police. But a bunch of things all happened at once, and some of them got justice and some of them didn't. Was it around, more recently was the Mr. Aubrey that was shot while jogging, and that guy was convicted. And then 3 years ago, we had George Floyd, 3.5 years ago, and Chauvin was convicted. I honestly haven't followed up to see what happened with the other officers and their cases. I think if John Crawford III's tragedy happened after George Floyd, I think it would have had a very different outcome. Last I checked, and it was probably in the last year or two, John Crawford Jr. still had not gotten a single dime from the Beaver Creek Police Department nor from Walmart. So it's going to be interesting. This is certainly going to kick up that dust. And I'll be in touch with Mr. Crawford because he's a very well educated individual, and he's, I don't think I've even told him that I have a channel now, but like I said, he works in the field of corrections. I believe he's a probation officer. Anyway, that whole thing, let's shift gears after I read a couple of your comments here. You are correct, Squirrels on Fire. It's so hard to see. Annie Ruler, Mark Molina, Mega Pints, hello. Unwell, stress, little help for them. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is that you're speaking of, Mark. Let's see. Good morning. Annie Ruler, 100% agree about the government. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, good morning to everybody. So I'm very curious to see what happens with John Crawford's case, and I hope that something happens. I hope that his family gets some justice. So he has at least one child I think, 2 children. And I think he was 23 when he was killed in 2014. But yeah, to have the detectives accuse his girlfriend of lying when she was the one that was at the Walmart with him. He was from the Cincinnati area and she was from the Dayton area, and they were at the Beaver Creek Walmart together. And yeah, same Beaver Creek Walmart that this guy was at last night. So same Beaver Creek Police Department. And it'll be interesting to hear more of the details. I guess recently, I looked it up and I couldn't tell if it was last night or in the last couple of days. There was 2 people shot in a Walmart parking lot in Alaska. And man, that's not looking good for Walmart, right? I mean, they've got to do something. They've got surveillance cameras in their parking lots, so they need to keep an eye on those surveillance cameras and see if people are coming in with rifles or what have you. I mean, we're in an open carry state here in Ohio, so that's relevant too. Let's see. Greetings and prayers for the innocent. Yeah, and prayers for the 4 people that were shot. I can't see what this says. Janet, the lady brought in to drain wealth, doing good job in my opinion. Annie Ruler, what's in the water in Beaver Creek? Well, beavers, right? We had a shooting at our old Walmart about 20 years ago. Yeah, I had a weird incident happen at Walmart out in Washington State when when I only had one child and she was maybe 3 years old. So it was right before my son was born, and I won't go into it, but it was scary. It was a really bizarre situation, and it was actually a woman that lured me out to her car, and there were like gunshot holes in her. It was a van, actually, not a car. And then some guy walked up to me holding money, and like, I don't know what he said, but like, instead of panhandling, he was holding money, but he looked like he was panhandling. But he walked up to me right as we were at her van, and I saw the bullet holes, and I was just like, I am out of here. I think she said she was like a dog breeder and had been trying to interest me in a dog when we were in line in the store. So yeah, she opened up her wallet to like take out a picture of a dog, and she just had like a huge stack of cash. And then she was like, oh, I've got pictures, but they're not in my wallet. I thought they're out in the car. And like a dumbass, I walked with her, and I think it was dark, but this was in Marysville, Washington, which is about half an hour north of Seattle, right on Interstate 5. And the whole thing was so freaky. And as soon as that guy came up and I saw the bullet holes, and I took off running, and I said, I'm reporting you guys to the security. And they were both like, what? But I'm pretty sure they were in cahoots together. I don't think I need to make any conclusions. You guys can make your own conclusions. So I was a young mom with a beautiful 3-year-old, and I was pregnant. And a guy who looked like a bum was walking up to me with money in his hand, and a woman with a huge fat wallet full of cash who said she was a dog breeder, seemed like a grandma, actually, seemed harmless in Walmart, because I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than to walk out to somebody's car with them. But I thought, here it's a grandma. I felt safe, I guess. I was skeptical right away when she started talking to me. But anyway, this happened in a Walmart. I get the creeps from Walmarts. And, they have those surveillance cameras everywhere. So weird things happen in Walmarts, and yeah, it's going to hurt their brand a lot. Anyway, let's jump on to the next topic, and I'll try to read some of what you guys hear. I want to go in, and yet you tell us, LOL. I won't go into it, and yet you tell us. Well, I told you some of it. I didn't tell you all of it. I told you the gist of it. I was, going to go through it blow by blow, but then I thought, nah, what a waste of time. So, yeah. Anyway, I've been pretty fired up about the John Crawford III situation, and then fired up about having a new light system, a new cell phone contraption, and a new mic, and having all these new things at once because the Geek Squad said that my computer was ready, but they just haven't shipped it yet. So I'm at my wit's end, and I want to continue, though, trying to not miss more time spending with my viewers, as hopefully the damn computer will arrive in the next day or two, because I've just had it. It's been 2.5 weeks. You guys know how much I despise using my cell phone, and I have all these lights and stands. I have several, but none of them work well, in my opinion. So I bought some new ones when I was at the computer store yesterday, and I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, bad things happen everywhere. Yes, it's true, Marky Mark. It's absolutely true. And bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people. So, speaking of bad things happening to good people, we also wrapped up the Mo Wilson trial for Caitlin Armstrong. And so sad. And as you guys, I'm sure, know, Caitlin Armstrong was sentenced to 90 years and a $10,000 fine. I wanted to make a correction on the amount of money that Caitlin Armstrong owes Colin Strickland, her ex-boyfriend. I said $300,000, and it's actually a lot more than that. It's $450,000 is what he loaned her. So, always follow the money. She was probably not only losing her mind about her boyfriend's status, but also knowing that if they broke up, he'd be wanting payments of his almost $500,000 that she obviously didn't have. So then when he was testifying and mumbling and, not speaking so that the judge could hear him, and he was trying to portray her as not being psychotic and jealous. And he basically said, I've dated far more psychotic, jealous women in my life. I think he was trying to insert reasonable doubt so that he could do her a solid so that she could stay out of jail and pay him back, in my opinion, possibly. But, I mean, all he did in my eyes was make himself look like more of a pig than I already thought he was, in that he has a real propensity to bring out the psychotic, jealous features in the women that he's dating when he sounds like a serial cheater and gaslighter and liar and a man baby. I mean, his freaking mother lives with him half the year, which, no shade on her, and really no shade on him if he wasn't acting the way he's acting. But really just a spoiled brat, just an entitled, spoiled brat. It's devastating for Moriah Wilson's family and friends, and thank goodness there's some justice with Caitlin. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some justice with Colin. I mean, as far as I know, he still has this stellar career laid out in front of him. And when it first happened, it was taking a toll on his stellar career because the sponsors didn't want anything to do with him. And I think rightly so. At the time, I didn't really know if it was justified or not. But at this point in time, knowing what we know and knowing the communications, yeah, it seems like he needs to be held accountable to whatever degree he is accountable. Like I said at the end of last week, I fully believe that he's an accomplice or an accessory before, during, and or after the fact. I believe that needs to be scrutinized, and I hope that there is some legal action being taken. But he's a millionaire. I looked him up after Friday's live, and he's worth several $1,000,000, as much as 10 million, depending on what website you look at, which is what I expected before looking. I thought that's probably what this is all about. She had to change her face with surgery. Yeah, she didn't have to. I mean, she didn't have to leave the country. My guess is that she's still delusional and that she still thinks she's going to get out on an appeal, or that she can just run again. I mean, my goodness, she tried to run from an officer going to a dentist appointment, I think 3 weeks ago. And that officer tripped and fell at the beginning of the chase, and yet caught her half a mile later. So kudos to that officer. I had a grandma following me in Walmart trying to get her hands on my granddaughter. Whoa, Blonde Gypsy, when was that? Scary that someone was, here, let me see if I can get a little bit closer, so bold to even propose that idea. Poor kiddos out there need some protecting nowadays. Right, and especially when it's like these grannies, like they know that they seem harmless because they're just grannies, that people look at them and think, oh, just a nice grandma who's going to bake you some cookies or try to kidnap you and sell you on the black market, right? Blonde Gypsy says, I always try to make sure to never say their names in public. You never know who is listening. You know, Blonde Gypsy, and that is really smart. And I never say my children's names on my channel for that same reason. Yeah, you can't be too safe. It's horrible that we live in a world like that, but we do, and you need to take every precaution that you can. Typically, I don't go shopping in the dark. I mean, after that situation happened in Walmart, and, you know, like I said, I felt like I was well educated and skeptical of people. I just decided if I can avoid it, especially Friday nights and Saturday nights, I try not to even go to the grocery store after dark on those nights, and especially near malls. Like, no way. Like Christmas season, malls, Friday night, Saturday night after dark. In larger cities, there's a lot of gang activity. So when I lived in Seattle, there were a lot of nice malls, and there was typically gang activity and shootings in one of these various malls. Even the fanciest one, the Bellevue Mall, was the fanciest one back then, probably still is. And there would be gang activity in the Bellevue Mall Friday nights and Saturday nights, and especially around the holidays. So beware, beware. And Shan, I didn't get to see all of your live last night, but I will catch the rest of it. And as per the usual, it was really good just going over that first initial few days of when Kiely Rodni went missing, and just like how quickly the crew led by Scammy organized themselves and put these messages out that, you know, we need everybody who was there, everybody who might know something, to come talk to us. Nobody's going to get in any trouble for anything. I mean, really sus. And as I often like to say, for that we can thank her and them for putting out these extremely suspicious statements, because Without that, we wouldn't know what we know, right? Like they were trying to get a storyline going. They were trying to get everybody on the same page. And they were not planning on anybody having any consequences for any of their actions. I have been looking at the photograph of Elsa that Shan was showing in her live when I was on the panel. And it's like over her shoulder, like right around eye level, there's what looks to me like it could be a person. And it's hard to tell because, yeah, it's pixelated and it's dark. But I do think that these people, like the ones in the Truckee situation, they put things out on social media to flaunt what is going on. And they try to be subliminal, they try to be mysterious. I'm really curious what it is in that back corner. So if you're looking at the screen, it's like the upper right hand corner. And I'm going to put a community post with a pixelated photo of what I'm talking about with some arrows to what looks to me like knees and legs from the knee down. It looks to me like the person might be wearing black shorts and some kind of white shirt. And I'm just really curious what other people see. And maybe it's just a bunch of pixelations and it's nothing. But Shan, I liked the word you used. She said that she didn't see what I was seeing, but she definitely saw a disturbance. And yeah, I would agree. It's some type of disturbance. And why that photograph of Elsa that looks like it is by the water, and it looks like it's probably lit by headlights, and there's even like a light glow again in the upper right hand corner when you're looking at the image, that's kind of behind the trees, behind the treetops. It's really weird. It's an odd photograph. Like, what is in her hand? Is it a glow stick that she's moving around? And why that photo? And I guess it was posted at 12:19 or so the following day, onto Elsa's social media. What's up with that? Yeah. Keep the lid on. Check out Chronicles of Olivia. Uh-oh, what we got? What's going on? Is it something new or something old with Elsa with Jane Doe #1 and Jane Doe #2? I don't think she's done anything since the interviews with Kaylee G's family. So let's talk about Idaho4 for a few minutes. What time are we at? Man, the glare is so bad. It looks like we're just coming up on 40 minutes. So Idaho4, you guys, there's been a lot of noise over the weekend about Kopaka, and the body cam videos were released. There's a certain channel that got a hold of them, and I was going to do a public records request too and see if I can get my own copy. I watched some of it and I didn't get that much out of what I watched. So I wasn't very impressed with all of this like groundbreaking breaking news about Kopaka. It's definitely interesting. You know, I've been fascinated with the Kopaka situation from day one. Literally, I think it was December 15th last year that I made a video about it when it happened, the day it happened. As soon as I heard about it, I was just like, there's no way that this could be unrelated. And just like how law enforcement cleared the roommates in an hour, they also cleared Kopaka having anything to do with the Idaho4 in like an hour. I mean, it was crazy. It was ridiculous. And that to me was a red flag and very indicative of the likelihood that there's a cover-up. Because if there was no connection and you've only known about the situation for a few hours, you would say there's no connection that we know of yet. We'll continue, it's an active investigation. But for them to just come out and say absolutely no connection And to be so sure, so quick, sus AF, in my humble opinion. So I've never suspected Kopaka of being guilty of anything other than being caught up in the situation and basically knowing information. So when I say caught up in the situation, I've often wondered if he might have been the IT guy at the University of Idaho. And I wonder if he wasn't instructed to basically shut down the interwebs that night. So it was Nerdy Addict that saw the anomaly of the whole campus going dark somewhere after 11:30 that night until roughly 6 a.m. the following morning. And he didn't know if it was like routine maintenance scheduled or what, but he called the FBI and said, hey, this is my background. This is what I found. I thought that you'd be interested. And it's curious. It's curious if it was not Kopaka that turned, that made everything go dark. So last night I had interference with my Wi-Fi connection. Shan had interference with her Wi-Fi connection while we were on the live. So, is that coinky dink or is that being hamburglarized? I don't know, but it's frustrating. I always think of the South Park episode, what are we gonna do? The internet is down. What are we gonna do? I like to say, I can't live like this when it's down for just like a split second or it takes 5 minutes to get back up. But yeah, for the campus to be having that type of inactivity during such a monumental, catastrophic event, the timing is suspicious. Very, very suspicious. And then the timing of the SWAT team taking out a Purple Heart Army veteran. There are special procedures in place, special protocol for when dealing with somebody like that that's served our country, that has a head injury, that has PTSD. And it didn't appear at any point in time that specific protocol and procedure was ever adhered to. And that's criminal in and of itself. In the event that it was genuine that Mr. Kopaka was having a meltdown and threatening people and dangerous and this had to happen, then it still should have risen to the level of dealing with a protected person and the specific policies and procedures that are in place for that. And because those weren't followed and because there was no one in imminent danger when he was taken out, I don't know. Very, very questionable. I think it needs to be scrutinized. I think the timing of those two events, the Idaho4 slaughter and Kopaka's SWAT team event being 30 days apart, 31 days apart, and 7 miles distance apart, that's astounding. And then to have law enforcement say within a couple hours of him being swatted that there's no connection. None. They're sure of it. They're absolutely sure of it. Just like they were sure that the roommates couldn't have been involved in anything. Absolutely sure, right off the bat. I'm really glad that a lot of people are going back over and over again the details of the 8 hours, the details of the 5 hours of missing time for Xana and Ethan with the Sigma Chi party that they were allegedly at until roughly 9 o'clock. And then there was 6 weeks where that time was unaccounted for, and the police were putting out an all points bulletin. If anybody knew anything about their whereabouts, please step forward, because they don't know how to like track people down and investigate and look for video cameras that are all over the freaking campus. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. The video cameras, the Ring doorbell cameras, the frat houses, they are cammed up. I'm sure of it. They would have to be for their own safety. It's just a huge, to me at this point in time, it's a huge, obvious cover up, basically. I continue to believe that all 4 of the victims were targeted and the house was targeted. And I think when Chief Fry first made the statement that they didn't know which of the 4 victims were targeted and that maybe the house was targeted, and that seemed to go over about as well as Scammy's Lord of the Flies comment. So he sort of tried to backtrack and say, no, the house wasn't targeted that we know of. No, we don't know that anything or anyone was targeted. They already let the cat out of the bag. So the house being a target, I don't think was something on anybody's radar until law enforcement said that. But I continue to believe that there's just no way that all 4 of those people were haphazardly, spur of the moment, taken out when somebody may have been going into the premises for 1 or 2 victims. Why would you go into a home with so many cars parked outside and a party house to just try to find 1 or 2 people? Makes no sense at all. I'm still not convinced that the 2 non-witness witnesses were even home when it happened. But I listened to some readings of Divine, what is her channel called? 1111 Tarot. Sorry, I started to say Divine Pathways. That's another good Tarot channel. But 1111 Tarot. Am I saying the name of it right? She, I think, has a really good, solid perspective on the whole situation. And over the weekend, she did some readings talking about the house, the cleaning, not only during the 8 hours allegedly from like 4 a.m. until noon, but cleaning for hours before that. I mean, something could have happened with Ethan much earlier in the night. Xana's father communicated with her at midnight, but I still don't know if that was text or speaking. If it was text, it could be somebody else that was posing as Xana, right? I mean, just like the 10 phone calls from Maddie and Kaylee's phones to Jack D. And then the Mama G, says that she tried calling Jack D the next morning and couldn't get through. So let me see what you're saying here. Rachel Smith, hello. Sorry, I've missed so many of your comments. Yup, 2 BKs, red flags. Yeah. Hearing about Beaver Creek Walmart reminded me of Kaylee reporting seeing missing Sharon Archer in Walmart. Walmart comes up in American, oh, my necklace is falling off. American Predator 2, 1111 on point. So yeah, it's funny that my necklace came off because I was just thinking, I haven't talked about my necklaces. So this necklace I bought to take apart and use the cool little, like, I don't know if they're moonstones, but they look like moonstone beads. But it's such a perfect necklace. I have trouble taking apart jewelry that's in perfect condition. I often buy things to take them apart, but then when they're really well made, I'm just like, that's kind of against my religion to take apart perfectly intact jewelry. So this one is watermelon tourmaline. It's three strands the way I have it on. You can make it one long, it's all one long strand. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna tie myself up in knots here. I better stop. Anyway, I wanted to show you the cool watermelon tourmaline because that is one of my favorites. And then over the weekend, of course, I bought more necklaces. They're Silpata. So there's this one with the pearls and quartz crystal. And then there's this really dainty one with just Swarkovi crystals, also Silpata. So the Silpata ones are my newest acquisition over the weekend. The tourmaline, when I got it a while ago, I got it to take it apart and use the tourmaline, but then again, it's so well made. I think it's Chico's or something like that. It's so well made that I just didn't have the heart to take it apart. But all of these necklaces I thought I'd show you because I might just have to take them all apart and make stuff out of them combined. I probably won't take apart the super little dainty one because I love to have little dainty things. But you know, now I just have the 3 necklaces on, right? 1, 2, 3. So that's my Kiely calling, and then the tourmaline, I'll put it back on, but just with 2 strands. So enough about the necklaces. And my winner of the last set of jewelry still hasn't sent me their address through email. So it is Monday, November 21st right now, and I want to do another giveaway for the holiday weekend. So at some point this week, I'll do another jewelry giveaway of something that I made. And then over the holidays, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was thinking of giving away like maybe really exquisite, kind of artsy holiday decor, if that doesn't sound too goofy. You know, I don't want to be a decor channel. I don't want to be a jewelry channel. I don't even want to be a yoga channel. I want to be a true crime channel, but I like to, you know, just go with what inspires me. And these are the things that inspire me. So I'm really big into Christmas. I'm really big into very unique artistic types of Christmas decor. So if you guys think that sounds like fun, I'll do giveaways like at least one a week between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, you know, maybe like cute tree ornaments or cute quilts. I've got Christmas quilts that are pretty cool. I'm a big quilt collector too. So if that doesn't sound too corny, and you know what, if it does sound too corny, then tough, I'm corny. So what can I say? I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to roll with it. I am corny. I will admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. Can you all even believe November 21st already? I know we have Thanksgiving, not the day after tomorrow, but the day after that. And, you know, it's important to me to be very mindful of people that have a tough time with the holidays. For a lot of people, it's their first holiday without some special people in their lives. But even for people who haven't lost anyone, holidays can just bring up a lot. And it's just a stressful time for everyone. So I haven't shared this with you guys, I don't think. Let me get a drink of water real quick and share with you something that I learned when I worked in a psychiatric facility that I thought was super fascinating. Let's see, my shoulder things are uneven. That drives me nuts. Okay, super fascinating. Working inpatient psychiatry, the holidays are actually a quiet time in patient psychiatry, or they were back then. This is going back like 30 years ago almost, the mid 90s. So this was in the San Francisco Bay Area, And my mentor, who'd worked at the facility for 20 years when I started under her wing as her little art therapy protege, she shared with me that in that hospital, Ross Psychiatric Facility on Sir Francis Drake Boulevard in, Marin County. I'm trying to remember. I think that the name of the town was actually Fairfield. Anyway, Ross Psychiatric Ross Psychiatric Hospital is no longer there. I don't know what they've turned it into now. But I remember the address was 1111 Sir Francis Drake Boulevard. Oh my goodness, you guys. And it was a very, very magical experience for me. And for my mentor. Like I said, she worked there for well over 20 years. 1111 Sir Francis Drake Boulevard. I'll have to Google it and see what's there now. Anyway, back to the point. The point was that my mentor told me that come January, you would have what they called the holiday fallout, and it was the busiest time of the year. And there were many people who would have nervous breakdowns in January, suicide attempts, self-unaliving attempts in January. And being so new to this world, I was just like, that doesn't really make sense to me. And my supervisor explained it very eloquently. Like, people do everything they can to hold it together over the holidays, and it's very, very stressful. So pushing yourself to be around family, pushing yourself to, be Martha Stewart and cooking and cleaning, don't hurt yourself. Like, give yourself a break. Don't do that to yourself. Especially don't put yourself in the company of people that you don't trust. Don't put yourself in the company of people that are going to insult you or attack you. And a lot of times that's what family members do. Sometimes it's frenemies that do that, but don't allow it. And if someone is doing that, distance yourself from that person, like in the moment. And, if you're concerned about being rude, maybe don't be, because they're being rude, and you can just speak your mind and say, I'm trying to have a lighthearted, good time with people. Could you put a sock in it? But it's also okay to just distance yourself and take a walk when things are getting heated, or leave early. You don't even have to be forthright. You can just say, oh, I have a headache, I must leave. Metaphorical headache, right? Some people bring it out in you. But just take really good care of yourself, and especially getting your rest, getting your exercise. It's a very tough time for so many people. And, the poor nutrition, the overeating, that's a whole nother topic. It used to be, I haven't looked into it lately. Let's see what the Google says. It used to be that the average person gained 8 pounds between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you guys. The average person gained 8 pounds between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then that average person would spend the rest of the year trying to lose it, so then they could do it again. So I don't know about you, but I really try hard to make sure that I eat very, very well and very light over the holidays, and try not to let myself get too hungry. I'm still listening, just occupied with prepping cardboard to make t-shirt boards prior to all of my silkscreen printing stuff comes. Oh, how exciting, squirrels. I know you're going to make some super cool t-shirts, and they're going to be the bomb. I'm really excited to see what you come up with, because you have such a knack for the artistic creativity. I'm also working on shorts between breaks of craft design prep. And hello, who dat? KWWK? Hello. Billy, darling. Hey, I didn't see you here. Nice to see you. It's wind chime of Marin now, apparently on 1111 Sir Francis Drake Boulevard, Kentfield. Thank you. I said Fairfield. I knew it wasn't quite right. Kentfield, California. Thank you so much for looking that up, Billy darling. And I love that. I love that it's wind chimes. That's perfect. So awesome, Shan. Thanks, Kenny. Oh, is Kenny here? Kenny, make a comment and I'll see if I can mod you up. And if it knocks everything down, then so be it, because I wanted to make Kenny one of the mods and I hadn't done that yet. Oh, that's Kenny right there. Yeah, the KWWK. I was like, is that a new person? Add a moderator. Let's see. Did it work? Did I hit the right person? No, Billy darling, I made you a moderator. Is that okay? But it worked and I didn't knock the phone over. Let's see. Add as a moderator. Okay. So now KWWK is now a moderator. Awesome, you guys. Look at all my mods. Yay. Thank you, Kenny. And Billy, as long as that's okay with you, otherwise I can undo it. But I'm happy to have you as a mod if you're fine with it. And yeah, thanks everybody. I didn't thank all my viewers for being here. And here's my silly cardboard thing. Please share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And hit that like button. It might be out of the frame a little bit, but I'm afraid if I move it, my whole world will fall apart. So I'm just not going to touch it. And where are we at? We're just over an hour. I kind of feel like I'm expiring because my neck is stretching. And again, I hope no bats in the cave, right? That would be a nightmare. I'd have to delete the whole video. Not to be vain, but just to not be disgusting, right? Or spinach in my teeth or whatever. There's always something. Look at all these mods. Let's see. Harsh One says, hello everyone. Oh, I'm so glad that I stayed on until you got here. I was just starting to wrap up and Outdoorsy Life is also here. Love the background. Thank you, Billy darling and Rachel. So the background, Shan nailed it a while ago. It's a jellyfish, but it's upside down. So maybe tomorrow I'll put it right side up so you can see the jellyfish part. But it's supposed to be like a jellyfish outer space abstract kind of thing. And I don't know if you can see it, but over here is kind of a moon. There's a few moons. You know, another thing I haven't really talked about in my videos so much, and maybe I will, is dream work, because I've done a lot with dream therapy and dream work, and it made me think of it, the many moons, because I had a dream like 30 years ago where I looked up in the sky and saw 3 moons, at least 3. I think it was 3. Could have been 4, could have been 6, but I've never had a dream like that except that one, and it was phenomenal. I've had a lot of very moving, powerful dreams, and I'd love to do a live with you guys when I have my laptop and I can read your chat more better, because it's so frustrating not being able to read it. Thank you so much. I have seen a lot of wrenches. Aw. The blues are so soothing. Yeah, and I got some of my candles out. I love the candles. I love the blues, and then yeah. The lights, the hair, the sound. I hope the sound is good. It's so annoying when it's all like tinny, and I don't know that the mic is even working. So I'll play with that, and then hopefully if it's not working today, it'll be working tomorrow. Let's see. We love space, earth, and all creation. I love when it's captured in UV reactive. Yeah, the UV reactive, it's really just these electric battery operated candles back here. Normally I have one of my little round globe lights that's kind of that cobalt color. Now I'm gonna knock stuff down. But yeah, I really like that the way it enhances back there with that. And yeah, it's just nice to be artistic and, you know, um, this whole YouTube experience is really an art therapy form for me, and I would imagine for you guys too. So let's see, I have a similar projector in my bedroom. Oh, nice. Like one of those star projectors where it like puts all the stars up on the ceiling, Kenny. Um, I found a piece online where it gives addresses of a warehouse in Truckee where they have Fight Club. Oh, yeah, I heard that part revisiting Shan's live from last night. I didn't get to capture the whole thing yet, but I heard you guys talking about that. And I thought, of course, they have a warehouse in Truckee where they have Fight Club. So why would they have it out at Prosser Lake, Prosser Creek Reservoir that night if there's like a designated warehouse for it, right? I'm very suspicious of the photograph with Elsa. Very suspicious of what the heck they're really trying to communicate with that. But Kenny, you do such good work. Let's see. Lights aren't blue. Her lights aren't blue. Purple. And we know what purple means. My lights, are you calling me Truckee Mafia? They're cobalt, so yeah, I mean, they could be considered purple or blue, or that's hilarious. Yep, I admit it. You guys know I skied there in the 90s, so I must be part of the Truckee Mafia. That's why I started my channel, right? To try to spin the narrative. Goodness gracious. Thanks for that, Shan. I love it. And yeah. The cosmos, sleeping outdoors. If they're so innocent, let's see all the pictures with the metadata and the one picture of Kylie. Yeah, let's see one picture of Kylie. I mean, I was surprised last night, Shan, to hear you say that you were open to the idea of the last proof of life photo of Kylie, not Kylie, possibly being her. Because you know how I thought for so long, like most of this last year, that it was her. And then a couple months ago, you finally brainwashed me into thinking that it's not her. I didn't think I'd ever get there. But I am on the fence. I think that it looks so much like Scammy, and it also looks like it could be her. And again, it's what's weirder is that that's the only photo that has been put out into the public eye. You know, when you're looking for a missing person, you're going to do better than that. And to have a surveillance camera photograph that's so grainy, it just doesn't add up at all. And yeah, you know, I mean, obviously it's been airbrushed because it looks like she was holding some things in her hands and arms that were taken out of the photograph. Very likely carrying alcohol, and she's 16 or 18, depending on if it was Kylie or Scammy. And probably you need to be 21 to buy any alcohol in Truckee. But yeah, the photograph is interesting. The lack of other photographs is even more interesting. And it is weird how it looks like such a hybrid of the two of them, regardless of which one of them it actually is. I find it fascinating on so many levels, so many levels. And then the whole thing with the bodysuit that was found between Prosser and Boca. And then the whole thing with the autopsy and the boy shorts being under the thong bodysuit or over the thong bodysuit? Over the thong bodysuit, because I remember saying if it was me, I could see wearing it under to help with that weird feeling that I won't go into detail describing, but I just can't do a thong. I just can't. I know a lot of people like that for the look of flying commando, but you know, I just think they're extremely uncomfortable. So in the autopsy, for them to say that she had on the thong with the boy shorts over it, and then she had an IUD, and she had a diva cup, and I don't know if I've said this in a video. I know I've said it with my mods in texts, that it's almost like they try to make it sound like she's got some type of chastity belt device with all of these layers. I mean, to me, it's sus AF, and especially the one shoe on, one shoe off, one sock on, one sock off. Not to mention all the other things about the autopsy that's sus AF. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm kind of going all over the map with all of these cases, so let's try to summarize and bring it back to the center and maybe do like a little yoga thing, right? Because, like I said, that's my training, and am starting to, it's starting to sink in on a more organic level where I feel it coming from within. Whereas at first I was just like, you know, it was all very awkward. Even to think of myself as a yoga instructor. So, so yeah, it's really important to take care of ourselves, take care of our emotional health, psychological health, spiritual health, physical health. And I would recommend for anybody who's interested to attend a yoga class. And I'd say be careful which one you attend, because they're probably, some people probably use yoga classes as a way to lure people into some type of religious or belief system. I won't use the C word, but you know where I'm going with that. I know the first meditation class that I ever went to was at the Evergreen State College when I was about 20 years old. And I was horrified that that's what it was. And the person leading the meditation was at least up front that that's what it was. She was a disciple from this New York City guru Maharaji that, you know, it was like city blocks in New York that were full of this whole thing. And then they would send their people out into the world to try to recruit more. And they would do it with free meditation classes. So like I said, at least she was completely upfront. Like, I'll give her credit for that, because the ones that you really need to watch out for are the ones who are not upfront at all. And in teaching something like yoga or meditation, you are vulnerable. Just like when you go see a physician or a mental health counselor, you're very susceptible to whatever ideas they might impose upon you. And really, I don't think anybody should be imposing ideas on anyone. The yoga training that I'm doing is very clear and explicit about being open to all different walks of life, and to not, as like the ethics and protocol of a yoga instructor, to not try to superimpose your beliefs about anything on anyone ever, because you make yoga look bad as a practice when you do that as a representative of being a yoga instructor. So I don't want to preach, you know my thing. I always like to say, eat healthy, high protein. Your veggies, I will preach about veggies. And I'll preach about water too, because those things are so freaking important every single day, just like our sleep. And I said it last week, and I really mean it's true. Even more important than sleep, in my opinion, is having a relaxed attitude. So just kind of giving yourself a break, like just putting yourself on vacation mode. This week, a lot of people have vacation because of the holiday. But whether you have vacation time or not, just put yourself on vacation mode and just bring it down a few notches. Just put your feet up. Just let yourself be. Don't put high demands on yourself. The last thing I want to say is that was it in Shan's chat last night or was it the night before? It was in somebody's chat where I said that I had spent the weekend getting my life together, and somebody responded to my comment and said, wow, it would take me more than a weekend to get my life together. And I laughed because I was like, yeah, that's just, the tip of the iceberg. But really, again, it was part of the yoga training. And I want to share because it was pretty life-changing. It was very cool. I just buckled down on clearing out my space, on clearing out my house, cleaning, purging, like 3 days in a row, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And how come it was 3 days when we're only 2 days? Oh, because yesterday was Monday. That's why. And I had Monday off. So yeah, it was 3 days in a row. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Did I say earlier that it was Monday, November 21st? Because we all know that it's not Monday, it's Tuesday. I didn't know that. I was thinking it was Monday. Anyway, I know what day it is. Just like I know my name, right? My name is Jazz. Justice A to Z. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. I will expect to do a live tomorrow around the same time. Hopefully, fingers crossed that all the devices are working. Who knows? Maybe I'll even get that freaking laptop back from the Geek Squad. And I'm also planning on doing a live on Friday after Thanksgiving. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not sure. I'm going to just leave it open because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but you guys know how much I love doing this with you. So it's a much better day for me when I do a live than when I don't do a live, even if everything falls apart. So thanks again for being here, you guys. Sending you light, sending you love. Have a really good rest of your day. I hope I finished all my thoughts that I was saying about, just taking care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically. It's so important. And, at the beginning of the weekend, I had the desire to purge and clean and get my life together over the weekend, but I really didn't think I could. I didn't know if I had it in me. I thought I might just need to veg, and I just put one foot in front of the other and just kept going with it. Like I like to say that I took advantage of myself and I exploited my efforts because it was working, and so I just kept running with it, and it was pretty phenomenal. But again, it's not like I got my life together. I just got rid of a bunch of stuff that I don't need, and that opens up space, and it is it makes you lighter. Clearing out your physical space also clears out your mental space. Everything that you own takes up some of your psychological space, and in a sense, everything that you own owns you back, right? How's that for deep? Anyway, peace out, you guys. Thanks again. Please hit that like button on the way out. Share, subscribe, ring your notification bell. And see you mañana. Have a great rest of your day. Light and love.